here in the perimeter, there are no stars. Out here, we is stoned. Immaculate.
Hello and welcome. This is the C86 show. I'm David Eastaugh. As you know, we love a special guest. This week it's in the turn of the guitarist, producer, songwriter. It's the one and only Boz Boorer, who I spoke to find out more about life, love, poetry and all that other groovy stuff. Member of the rockabilly band, the Polecats, who are still going strong. They have got a date, 14th of December. They're going to be playing at the West Hampstead Arts Club. Do check out the website. I'll put a link in the notes below, and also has produced lots of other people's works, including the Norwich-based band Fireball XL5. I know, we love those facts. Anyway, after several minutes of interesting but casual chat, we get down to the exciting subject of the early formative years. Boz, it's over to you.
Well, yeah, I was a little bit earlier than that, but it was glam rock and it was T-Rex when I was 9. And Get It On was... and then there were the 3 songs on the B-side. So B-sides have always been important because all those early T-Rex singles had 2 songs on the B-side.
Yes. And what were your B-sides on T-Rex? Get It On.
Get It On, the B-side was a track called There Was a Time, and then Raw Ramp, and then it didn't say it on the label, but it was another song called Electric Boogie.
Right, there you go. And did you come from a sort of quite a musical family, or any musical kind of people in your household?
My dad sang in a choir for most of his life, and my mum played piano by ear, and my brother played violin for about 10 minutes, and then that's all I've ever done is music.
Yes, and where did you grow up? Where was your hometown or city?
In northwest London, in Edgware, at the end of the Northern Line.
Right, there you go. So you probably, I was born in the middle of the countryside in East Anglia, so musically and culturally things didn't sort of develop that quickly around here, in these parts anyway. So yes, so then so your first single, well, what was the first album you bought?
Probably Electric Warrior by T-Rex. Trying to think what else I had at that time. I had The Faces, Ooh La La, Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones, and they're albums that I still love. I still play them.
Yes, and did you find Exile on Main Street kind of easy going to begin with, or did it take a bit of?
I say Exile. I meant Sticky Fingers.
Oh right, okay, there you go.
Because I love Brown Sugar. I bought it on a single.
Yes, well, there you go. That's always good. And then, what was the first gig you went to?
I think. I did work out at one point. It was either Chuck Berry at the New Victoria Theatre in 1976, or it was Fleetwood Mac at the Rainbow, also in 1976.
Blimey, the classic lineup of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, it was. I do remember the gig. I didn't know many of the songs. I did know that song "Go Your Own Way."
Yes,
and I think probably Rhiannon. But they didn't do Albatross.
Which would have been the classic really at that stage in life, wouldn't it? Yes. So when did you get a guitar? When did a guitar appear in your life?
At school, probably around the age of 12 or 13, there was a nylon strung guitar in the music room, and which fascinated me. And young John Turner in my class knew how to play a 12-bar, and he showed me how to play that and the Chuck Berry riff from Trying to Be Good.
Right.
And then I was up and running.
And there we go. And what sort of, who were you trying to copy at the time? Was there any particular sort of musical genre that you were tempted with or intrigued by at that stage?
T-Rex, really.
T-Rex.
I like all the other things that you mentioned. We were just singing Little Willie downstairs.
Right.
Little Willie. Sway, David Bowie, and all the accoutrements that come with the genre.
Yes. And did you ever see Bowie live?
Yeah, I supported Bowie. We did 2 nights at Wembley. We played in Exeter. And I played in Inglewood at the LA Forum in 1990. probably 2, we played Cosmic Dancer at the end of the
Right.
Morrissey.
Oh, yes, that moment. But did you see him in the 70s at all?
No, I didn't see T-Rex ever. I didn't see anyone until '76, and then
Yeah.
punk and rockabilly happened. So I just went to punk and rockabilly gigs.
Yes. And so when did rockabilly become, your sort of calling in life?
Well, after the glam thing, we'd heard Chuck Berry do My Ding-a-Ling, and a friend of mine up the road bought 20 party hits, and there were all those classic Roll Over Beethoven and Johnny Be Good and Bye Bye Johnny. And I started listening to those. And then when I met Tim Polecat, he had Eddie Cochran. And we kind of went down that avenue, which is rock and roll. And then we went Teddy Boy. So there was a band called Crazy Cavern. And then rockabilly was there, but it wasn't called rockabilly. And then it was just all part of rock and roll. And then it became the main thing that we listened to.
Yes.
And then we listened to punk rock as well, which you weren't supposed to if you were a Ted. But
No, you were sort of musically fluid at this stage, weren't you? You weren't keeping tribal at all.
I was a sponge, just drawing from everything that I could see and hear.
And did you come across Levi and the Rockets?
Yeah, we met Levi, pardon me, at the Royalty in Southgate, probably in around 1978. And I remember seeing him play at the Venue with Whirlwind and Ricky Cool and the Icebergs. And I remember Billy Idol getting up and singing 20 Flight Rock and getting the words wrong. And that was just soon after that, he left and moved to Los Angeles.
Yes.
Not to come back for a couple of years. And then we did a load of shows together when he came back with the Ripcords.
Right, there you go. And had you met Smutty Smith at that stage?
Trying to think when I met Smutty. Well, he would have played with the Rockettes when I saw them play at the Venue. But then they went to America, and and they split up, and the Rockettes continued on their own without Levi. So I didn't meet Smutty. I remember meeting him at Gaz's Rock and Blues, probably around, must have been mid-'80s at the time I met him.
Yes. Well, I just remember he had a fantastic story of just, it was, I think, a person connected with David Bowie's, oh God, he was a photographer as well as a scenester who was quite enamoured by Sputty and
Lee Childers.
Lee Childers, yes. And then he suddenly found himself in New York with Andy Warhol and...
Yeah, so it's an amazing story. And Lee was an amazing man too. I kept in contact with Lee and I had breakfast with him shortly before he died.
Oh my God, yeah, because he's one of those characters, unfortunately. You're thinking, oh yes, there must be some book or documentary about him, but he seems to have just unfortunately slipped really through the net because he's got a fascinating story. And then
it gets more fascinating. I see some pictures sometimes and I go, "That's Lee," or Lee took that picture. It's quite amazing, really.
Yes, well, he was alive. There was another character, and they did make a film called on Danny Fields, who was this person who worked with the Doors and Nico and Iggy Pop and the Ramones. And yes, again, he was just one of those characters who made things happen. They always seem to go quite wrong. But he has a great story, and there's a lovely film about him. But Lee Childers is just one of those characters. And I also bought his book of photographs, which was quite stunning, really, at that point. So then, when did you sort of call yourself the Polecats?
Well, we started doing gigs under the name of the Cult Heroes, which wasn't very rockabilly, more punk, really. We became the Polecats probably in mid-'78, and we did a demo session which ended up being our first single, which I used to sell at school.
Right.
10 years old.
Is this Rockabilly Guy?
Rockabilly Guy on Nervous.
on Nervous Records. And then you followed it up with John I'm Only Dancing, David Bowie classic as well, which was on Changes One Bowie.
We kind of started to build up momentum. We supported Matchbox at the Music Machine, which was good, and then the Stray Cats came over and got loads of press, and we hitched on the back of that, and we signed a deal with. We did a tour with Dave Edmunds in 1980. At the end of 1980, we toured England, and then we signed to Phonogram around Christmas time, 1980. Then we started recording with Dave Edmunds, and John Wayne Dancing was our first single.
Right, so there you go. And was that a hit?
Yeah, it was top 40. I think. Did we do Top of the Pops? Yeah, well, I think we did Top of the Pops with it. Yeah.
I mean, did it at that stage, because the Stray Cats had sort of got such a success, was it hard to try and get the record to have that crossover hit?
No, it made it easier. It all over the country were these pockets of rockabillys.
Yes.
And they got bigger and bigger as there was more bands playing. It became more of a scene.
Yes. And did because everything in the 80s is so tribal, isn't there? I was sort of having done so many interviews. You had the things like the new Paisley scene, you had the Gothic scene, you had anarcho punk, you had post punk, and psychobilly as well, didn't you? So how were you sort of finding your tribe? Was that quite straightforward, or was that a conscious decision? Trying to sort of work out where to go.
No, we played the music that we loved. And we started playing glam songs like John and Me Dancing, and we did Jeepster. And I think it just appealed to a younger audience that weren't teddy boys, that were looking at something that wasn't punk, that was melodic.
Yes, absolutely.
Wasn't mod or skinhead or a two-tone came a little bit later. But...
Yes, I suppose the Beat and the Specials had sort of had that just can't stop it or something. Yes. So when you did the album, was that produced by Tony Visconti?
No, the album was produced by Dave Edmunds. And
right.
Visconti was brought in a little bit later, and we did 2 songs with him, which was our 3rd single, probably one of our best. And that's when we worked with Visconti, but he only did 2 songs.
Right. Was that Jeepster he worked on?
Jeepster and Mary Celeste.
Yes. And were you at this stage touring Europe at all, or else, America?
Yeah, that first year, 1981, I don't think we ever stopped, because we recorded. We did loads of radio sessions, demo sessions. We were on tour. We played in America. We played all over Europe. It was great. It was great. Our busiest year.
Yes. And then 83, is this when the band has a bit of a change? And then where do you go at this stage?
83, we got a new drummer. We did Make a Circuit, which was a move more towards a poppier sound, more influenced by Northern Soul, really. And that was our last single. So we should have gone and played in America, where Make a Circuit was played on a station called K-Rock in LA. And we didn't know, but really we should have gone over there and played LA. But
yes.
And Japan we were very popular in, and we didn't have any records out in Japan.
Right.
We were popular in Italy, we didn't play. In France, we didn't play enough.
Right. Why were you not... Well, did you have a manager at that stage?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's easy to say in hindsight that what you should have done.
Well, absolutely. It's a great thing. And it's quite annoying when someone mentions what you should have done. It's like, yes, but that's easy to say that. Yeah. So 83, why did you leave the band?
I started playing with my wife in a band called the Shillelagh Sisters.
Right.
And they signed a singles deal with CBS, and they were playing all the time. And the Polecats, I think in that last year, I think the Polecats did 4 gigs. We lost a record deal. We were still writing, but it was a bit of a struggle because we didn't have any fresh material to go out and play. And I was getting paid and playing with the Shillelagh Sisters, who had a deal with CBS.
Right. And you thought...
Yeah. So I left.
So did you work on the single "Give Me My Freedom" then?
Yeah, that was. I think I probably played sax on that as well. So
Yes.
Freedom, and then we did Passion Fruit, the two singles that we did, and then that deal ended. And then we formed a kind of soul-y band with Jackie O'Sullivan, who went on to join Bananarama, and my good lady wife. And we did some little tours with Captain Sensible and Gary Glitter. But it didn't amount to much. It was very difficult. And that's when I started work at Chrysalis as an engineer.
Right.
And I produced demos for about 6 years.
Yes. But then, because I did an interview with Johnny from Fireball XL5, but you produce one of their albums, don't you, all singles?
Yeah, that was the first thing I produced was the EP, Rockin' Shoes. The first thing I ever produced, and I loved it. And then we also did a single up in the UEA. They had a recording studio.
Right, so you were there.
And they played quite a lot in London. And Johnny was a very good bass player.
Yes. God, he's such a nice guy.
And I got him, in the end, I got him to play in the Morrissey band.
Yes, he mentioned that. But yeah, what I do. Did you enjoy producing? Was that something? Did you enjoy being in the studio?
Yeah, I didn't at first in the Polecats. I just thought it was a bit laborious, and why couldn't we just do things once? But now, of course, after 40 years, the studio for me is the place where I shine.
It's good. It's a good place to sign. And were you with the 80s, were you kind of interested in things going on? Were you just too involved as a musician navigating that own journey? Because obviously the 80s suddenly keep expanding with, you had the production work of people like Trevor Horn or Robin Miller, who did people like Sade and then Working Week and that jazz scene. Were you kind of excited by what was happening during the 80s?
Well, when I was producing stuff for Chrysalis myself, so chart music became more important to me, and sounds, and then it was probably from about 86 or 85 to 91. So I was in a record company. I worked at a record company, so I was there every day.
Yes.
And then at weekends, I'd go and record rockabilly, and I'd mix it back in at work during the week. So I spent the whole time in the studio.
Yes. And did you, I mean, with a lot of people I'd noticed who are in bands, they have a sort of a bit of a 5-year narrative. They have the 12-month honeymoon period, then they get a single. And mostly in those days, people like John Peel would give you a play and then a John Peel session, that first album, people getting on the sort of the transit van around the country, and then the second or the tricky third album. But things sort of alter when sort of just after 5 years the band have got a bit exhausted, and also there's a new wave of 16-year-olds that come along. I just wondered what it was like for you as the sort of the 80s or the 90s crept in, and there was that sort of, I don't know, there would be ecstasy and the rave and dance scene, and then there was the Seattle grunge scene. So I just wondered how you were navigating your musical journey.
I started playing with the Polecats again in about 1988 at a festival in Holland, and I was still working. It went on to 91, and then I started work with Morrissey, and I did that for 30 years.
Yes, 30. Did that, with them working with Morrissey, did that mean that that was your main focus, or were you still doing other projects around that, or were you just having to sort of be, focused on one project?
No, I did a lot of other things. One of the major things I did was an album with Adam Ant and a tour in America, which I really enjoyed, and I love Adam.
Yes.
And I did various weird sessions. I did a penny whistle session once for Joan Armour Trading, and it was just a great journey, and I just kind of let it just took me wherever it wanted. I didn't really have any control over it. It's kind of decided what I was going to do by who I met.
Yes, well, absolutely. You're obviously a very fluid person. And what was the call like to say, do you want to be working with, Morrissey for the next period. Were you surprised, and were you kind of aware of, the Smiths and that scene, or were you kind of oblivious to it?
Well, yeah, I knew the Smiths, but I didn't really listen to their music. And my friend Carl Smith, who was Chas Smash in Madness, invited me out for dinner, and it was with Morrissey. And then a little while later, I got invited to do a session playing on the Pregnant for the Last Time record. And then it all went quiet for a while. I had a few to and fro in talking about putting a band together, doing some shows, and then that didn't happen. And then in 91, probably around the end of March, I got a call saying would I be his musical director and guitarist.
Yes.
So I said yes, and then I'll never look back.
Never look back. Did you already know Gary Day at that stage? Was he part of your community?
Yeah, I'd made records with Gary Day when I was working at Chrysalis, and then at weekends recording bands down in Kilburn, and then would go and mix them at Chrysalis. He was in at least one of the bands, or maybe two, that I recorded at the time.
Yes, amazing. And your first album was with produced by Mick Ronson. What was that like, working with such an iconic guitarist?
Mick was lovely. I never met anyone who had a bad thing to say about him. He had a great ear. He was very encouraging and understanding, and he died far too early.
Yes, it's horrendous, isn't it, actually? But great sound. And then sort of with being a musician, I was, and obviously have spoken to a lot of people who'd worked with David Bowie, often there was just a short project, an album at all, possibly, and then that was it. When you were working in this context, did you have some sort of longer commitment, or was it just, do you just get like, okay, we'll be together for 12 months and then that's it? Is it kind of, how do things like that work?
I thought it would be short term, maybe 2 or 3 years, but it ended up being 30.
Yes, amazing. And did you all, I mean, musically on, one of my favorite tracks is Speedway. When you did you get the music together and then the lyrics came, well, the lyrics written elsewhere, or how did that collaboration work?
Exactly like that. I wrote the track, and then Morrissey wrote the lyrics and the melody, but he also helped to arrange the song when there's the stop and then there's the chainsaw.
Whose idea was the chainsaw?
Morrissey's. Well, we
Fantastic.
get a noise first of all, and I said, well, it sounds maybe that sound maybe like from a hairdryer, but it sounded terrible. And so we bought a lawnmower into the studio, and it sounded terrible as well. So then we got the handyman at the studio. He came in with his chainsaw, and it was perfect.
Right. It was. It's a classic song to end any album, isn't it?
Yeah, and we were having dinner one night, and we were saying how it was in the walled dining room, and how resonant the wood would be. And so after dinner, they cleared everything out, and we set the drums up in that room, took all the damping off the drums, and recorded the drums in the dining room fully with no dampening anywhere. And that's
right.
Drums at the end. They sound fantastic.
God, John Bonham would have been proud, wouldn't he, really? It would have been classic. And the same with The More You Ignore Me, The Closer I Get. I mean, with the music, did that sort of come quite easily? Was that a lot, with that dynamic of the different personnel? Did you find ideas coming to you a lot quicker?
Quicker than...
Well, with the Polecats, with sort of...
With Morrissey, there was never any rules about what you could do and what you couldn't do. So my artistic thirst was quenched. I could do anything that I wanted that I would think would sound good, and with a good producer to tell me which bits wouldn't work, I was a free agent. So The More You Ignore Me was written. Most of it was written before he went in the studio, but it came up riff, down, 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 that was written in the studio.
Yes. And then one of my favorite albums, which I just thought sounded good, but no one just seems to be sort of like one of those ones that seems to get just brushed to one side. Maladjusted. I have very fond memories of that. And Johnny was on that one as well, Bridgewater on bass. And I just thought it sounded brilliant. I thought a lot of the songs were good. Was that one that is one that you've got fond memories about?
I have fond memories about all the records I made with Morrissey. Well, all the records I've made, really. There's not been a bad time that I've had. Maladjusted was after Southpaw Grammar, which was a little bit progressive. Maladjusted with the very long title track, which is a thing that I wrote, which is kind of like a thing that just tumbles over and goes round. They're all good, you know. I don't
Yes, well, no, I agree. Because I think Trouble Loves Me is probably the song on that album which I've always kind of gone back to endlessly and sort of enjoyed. It starts quite slowly, doesn't it? Trouble Loves Me.
You sure that's on Maladjusted?
Yes, it might have then been, I don't know if it's been reissued and shuffled around.
It's it's one of Alan's songs. Great piano on it. And it gets heavy as it goes through with that sort of solo section, middle eight thing,
Yes.
and the repeat at the end. Alan wrote some fantastic songs.
Well, absolutely. You must have really loved the band, and the different bands that came together throughout that project.
It was a great. It was all a great time. There was no bad things.
No, well, absolutely. No, we loved it. I mean, there's a sort of quite a gap, isn't there? 7 years. What do you do in that sort of period between that and the sort of follow-up? Are you still making music or going off and doing other projects?
What now or then?
No, between Maladjusted and the next release. How do you keep...
We're gigging quite a lot. We never stopped playing, and we never stopped writing. So by the time we did You Are the Quarry, the songs on that had been taken form for 7 years. And that material on that album is amazing because, and anything that was not as good went by the wayside. So those songs on that album were the best songs that you'd ever get in 7 years.
Yes.
And playing some of them live. It was that was like a rebirth. And working with Jerry Finn, who was an amazing producer, I learned a lot from him.
Yeah. I thought Tony Visconti, oh no, ringleader of the Tormentors.
Right, yeah. So there was 2 hours with Jerry Finn, and then we did Ringleader.
Yes.
Which
And
was produced by Visconti, but he came in and did the vocals and mixed it, which was like...
There's a lot of guitars on that. How does that sort of work because Jess comes in on guitar as well, doesn't he? Jess.
Oh, Jesse, yeah. So when we did Ringleader, there were 3 of us playing. Alan was there as well, and my main job was arranging that album. After we worked on the songs, was to take out bits and pieces and to work out the best bits that everyone played.
Yes, because the two tracks on that one, which I thought are amazing, is The Youngest Was the Most Loved, and I Just Want to See the Boy Happy, which I just thought were amazing songs.
Yeah, it was a great session. First time that we'd gone and recorded in Rome, and it was a great place to make a record. It was very different than being in Reading, well, Henley. It was a new thing for us.
Yes. And were you, with playing live, did you see the audience change much over that time? Did you sort of see younger people discovering the work for the first time?
Well, there still is. There's sort of always new fans coming up in the ranks. It's it's always changing. People that became Morrissey fans that never saw the Smiths.
Yes. Did you still enjoy playing live at this stage?
I always still play live. Love it.
Yeah, no, I just sometimes people find it gets too much, the travelling, the sort of waiting about. The daytime being a bit irritating, but the 2 hours on stage making it all worthwhile, but sometimes finding just can't hack it anymore.
I love new cities. I went to Alaska 2 weeks ago for the first time.
Blimey, what did you make?
Eh?
What did you make of it?
It was very interesting. I mean, it's quite sparsely. What's the name? There's not a lot of people there, and then
No.
the mountains are in the back. We went, as I say, 2 weeks ago. I don't think we could go next month. I think it would be too cold. We were going to go out in a boat, but the weather was too bad.
Yes.
So it was starting to close in.
It was, yes, it was a bit. Have you always based yourself in the UK, or have you moved around and lived in different places?
I live in Portugal.
Are you in? Oh, yes, Portugal. That's where you've gone now. Oh, you've got your studio there now, haven't you?
Been resident in Portugal for 4 or 5 years.
Right. And does that suit you?
Yeah, I think it suits my blood pressure. Suits my health all the way around. The air's very good. There's more sunshine hours than anywhere else.
Yeah, it's funny. I've met a few. There was a German producer who worked on various bands, but he also produced the famous song 99 Red Balloons and has had studios around the world, but has now relocated to Spain. And it just feels like this is going to be where he's going to stay for the next period. So I think the climate and the weather and the culture is where he's gravitated. Was that one of the reasons for Portugal?
No, I nearly bought a house in Ireland, and our tour manager, Charlie Brown, kept telling me how great Portugal was. So we went for a few days and stayed with him and looked at places and bought a place. But the guy, I think he was the bass player from Nina's that did 99 Red Balloons. He died maybe 10 years ago, but he had a studio and he lived near my place.
Oh, right.
He had all these gold discs were on the wall, were all for that record.
Well, yes, there was a lot of gold discs, I would imagine, for that one. Absolutely. Yes. And just going, the other track that you were quite involved with, which is another one of those great hits, I'm Throwing My Arms Around Paris.
Paris, yeah.
It's an epic song. Did you, was this one that you also sort of had worked on musically before the lyrics came into the equation?
Always. I wrote that song on the road. I was in Sparks, Nevada, and after the gig, I was playing the poker machine at the bar with the lighting guy, and we got 5 aces, and we won a couple of $1,000. And I think the next day, I took my money into the Guitar Center. I think it might have been in San Francisco, but that's quite a long distance away. And I bought a little recording machine, and I started to write songs on the road in my hotel room. And one song I wrote was Paris.
Right.
And we started playing it after a couple of weeks. And then we recorded it quite quickly. It's a very short song. It's kind of based around 60s girl pop, really.
Yes, but it has such an optimistic vibe, doesn't it?
I think it's a great song.
It's instantly catchy, actually. And then sort of, with some of the releases, there's often been problems with labels and getting it released. Was that frustrating for you as an artist to sort of deal with that side of life?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't ever my concern. It wasn't ever my name on any record contract. So in that way, I was a hired hand.
Yes. No, I just wondered if you were thinking, my God, we need to be getting on with this. And then it just always, yes, just kind of being a bit frustrating.
I never found it frustrating. It was just, that's what it was.
Yes, there you go.
Oh. And I think it was as well.
Pardon?
That's the way Morrissey was as well. We didn't get in the way. It was just that we still had to keep going.
Yes. And then with your recent projects, you've got your studio in Portugal. You're back with the Polecats with live dates. Where are you are you still working with Morrissey at all, or is that sort of
No, I haven't played with Morrissey for 5 years now.
right? And was that a decision that you both made, or just?
Wasn't a decision I made.
I have no. So I honestly don't know. So I'm not sort of, yes, I didn't know. One can only ask, but
No, it wasn't a decision I made.
yes,
But 30 years I thought was a fantastic. I've seen the world. I've written some great songs. I'm quite happy with my lot.
yes, well, absolutely. And then sort of going forward, is it the Polecats is your main kind of focus now with sort of doing production work?
Oh, we've made a new record, which is quite exciting. I think the first one after 30 years. The singer Tim lives in Palm Springs, so it's a bit hard to organise gigs. I live in Portugal, so we do these sort of concentrated periods of gigs for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. And our next stop, we have a festival in Spain coming up before Christmas, and a show in London.
Yes.
So it's not really intensive. But then I've got a load of other projects. I'm working on my new solo record, which is quite exciting. So I'm getting some good reactions from my friends to be on the record.
Right. Yes. Do you have quite a community of people around that you can sort of not lean on, but Paul,
Well, I just talked it through with the guy who puts the records out, and we came up with some people to ask, and no one said no so far, which is great.
yes, absolutely. It must be quite something. And with your guitar playing, has that changed much over the decades?
I suppose it has. I don't really know how, but when I started, I think the first big change is when I was working as an engineer, because I played on lots of records by different types of bands, from funk to metal to indie to folk, with all good singers.
Yes.
So many sessions, and I think that amalgamation of styles made my playing more fluent. And so after that, and then playing with Morrissey, where there wasn't any rules on what it should sound like, was a fantastic continuation of that, the springboard into playing, as I say, not tied to anything.
On the tour, were you the kind of the musical director of the band?
Yeah. So I would suggest arrangements of songs, and if there was any pre-production things to be done, like with tracks or anything, that was my job.
Yes, I know David Bowie. I think Jerry Lennon was his kind of musical director for or Carlos Alomar. So he would sort of get the band in shape, and then once that was there, David would appear and they would start to do the vocals. Was that the same with touring with Morrissey, that you would have the band up in shape before the singer appeared?
Yeah.
And putting the set list together, was that yours or was that a joint kind of?
That was always mine.
Yes. And what was it like playing the Smiths songs? Did you enjoy those ones as much as the solo stuff?
Well, it opened up a whole new repertoire when we started to do Smith songs. And the first one we ever did was Shoplifters, and we did it at Barrowlands in Scotland. And it was the first time we played a Smith song, and we did it as a encore, and it was quite mental. And then occasionally we put a new one out. We did Panic, I think, at the London Palladium. We hadn't played it before. So they were always nice things to put in, and they were great songs. Johnny Marr's a fantastic guitar player and a great songwriter, so that added another bow to another string to the bow.
Yes. Did you used to play Meat is Murder, or was that one that was added as well?
No, we played Meat is Murder quite a lot, on and off.
Yes.
Towards the end, well, not towards the end, for a few years, we had the video of the slaughterhouses.
Yeah, because I remember you at the UEA in the, I don't know, the mid to late 90s appearing. I don't think there'd been that much touring up to then, so it was quite an exciting occasion. Um, you were at the UEA. To be honest, it was quite a late gig because I think the driver for Morrissey had got lost and had ended up going to North Norfolk, so it was quite a long wait. And then it was a Sunday, and so it was quite a short set. Happy days. That was before sat navs.
I can't remember.
No, it's fine. It's a long time ago. Yes, there you go. But it was just one of those nights, I guess. People get lost. And was it always yes, did you enjoy the adulation of the fans who were always there? Did you find the stage invasion quite interesting or irritating as a musician?
Um, I thought it was okay until people started knocking my mic over or treading on my pedals or knocking my cable out, which became annoying at that time. But the UEA was always a good gig. I think we did it with the Polecats in the early 80s. And then you had West Runton Pavilion.
Oh yes, West Runton. So did you play there as the Polecats?
Yeah.
My
And
God.
they do an 81.
I know.
The guy who owned it just had a birthday.
Did he? Right. Because I do have a book of the West Runton Pavilion. And what I'm absolutely boggled by, I mean, it was going from the 70s right through, and obviously everyone goes on like the punk period, but actually it was all the other bands like the Commodores were there, you know.
T-Rex played with the Damned.
Yes. Blue Oyster Cult, Motorhead was always playing there, so there was the punk stuff, but there was all these other very sort of quite big chart bands from America, and you thought, my God, they not only played there, they had to find themselves in North Norfolk, which was in those days there weren't great roads, and we didn't have sat navs, obviously. So very impressive, actually. What was your memories of the West Runton Pavilion?
I remember there being a man who they said was he ran a antique shop, but he was a little bit mad, but he was also in line to the throne, about 100 to the throne, who would walk around with a telephone in his inside his jacket, and he would say, "There's a call for you." I remember that.
That's very.
In that book, there's an advert for when the Sex Pistols played there, and I can't remember the name of the support band, but it's a funny name. It's like a progressive rock band called Squirrel or something. It's a great.
God, I'll have to have a look at that now. Actually, when you sort of look back at your it's it's a bit of a hard one to answer really, but your songs that you're proudest about, which ones would you say would be your three that you would sort of off the top of your head go, yes, that was musical perfection. I was rocking on that time.
Jack the Ripper was always one of my favourites. It's the first song I wrote that Morrissey recorded. Paris is always a favourite, and it's normally the next record, the next thing I'm going to write. But I'd say something like Scandinavia. Those the Scandinavia or the Teachers Are Afraid of the Pupils that have a classical sample in the background, but then a rock and maybe a hip hop drum sample on it. That kind of draws everything together, and no one else would do that.
No, my God, I'm gonna have to go away and study your musical arrangements at this stage. Was this? Would you have sort of ideas in the middle of the night, and you would have a recorder at your bed if you suddenly did your Keith Richards moment? Thought, my God, that riff is amazing. I must get that down now.
Yeah. I remember doing a song called Kit, which Morrissey recorded for Maladjusted but never released. I've done an album called Morrissey Reimagined, where I've taken Morrissey songs and re-recorded them in different styles. And Kit's on there, sung by a friend of mine, an amazing singer called Jimmy Necker. And Kit came, I was listening to an album called Scott Walker Sings Jack Brel.
Fantastic.
Amazing orchestrations, and I started coming up with these lines, and I couldn't remember them, and I started to write them down, and I couldn't remember them, and then I started to record them, and then the next day I wrote that song. It's not based on any particular song, but it was just the suggestions as I was listening to it. and it came out pretty well.
Yes, absolutely. And did you get inspiration from sort of other art forms like film or, I don't know, exhibitions, paintings? Did you ever sort of engage in sort of other worlds to try and get ideas?
Not really. I quite enjoyed occasionally writing with a piano because it was completely different. How that comes, the piano is a completely different instrument, so it sounds very different. If you listen to Gilbert O'Sullivan, all those songs are obviously written on a piano,
Yes.
written with an acoustic guitar, like a lot of David Bowie songs. I was classically trained from an early age, so I played in an orchestra, and I could read music from an early age. So I'm well aware of many different types of music, from Baroque to second Viennese school. So
Blimey, there you go. What was your instrument at school then, or your early? Pardon?
I learned clarinet, and then I started to learn the classical guitar, and then I learned. Well, I didn't really learn saxophone. The guy in the orchestra just gave me one and expected me to play it the following week, which I did.
Yes. Well, I guess if you did the clarinet, I guess you were part way there.
Yeah, very, very connected. And then I took piano lessons just before I started work at Chrysalis. So
Right.
I play double bass, and I'm kind of all rounder, really.
Are you a student? Does all forms of music fascinate you?
Yeah, there's good and bad everywhere.
There is certainly good and bad as well. Did you ever get into sort of Django Reinhardt and sort of those sort of scenes as well that a lot of guitarists often mention, or Robert Johnson and the blues?
All of that. I did 2 jazz courses when I was about 18. Of course, then you listen to Django Reinhardt with Stephen Grappelli playing violin behind him. Of course, you listen to Robert Johnson. If you listen to Rolling Stones, and then you follow it back in those amazing tracks that Robert Johnson, when he supposedly sold his soul to the devil. I don't know. Yeah, it's all part of the history of it, and I'm always looking for new music, new things to appreciate.
Yes. Did you enjoy playing festivals during your sort of period? Because the Glastonbury one, was often one that people often talked about. But did you play many festivals, and which ones were your most fondest moments on the festival circuit?
Yeah, I remember playing Glastonbury. Remember as you drove, but it rained for the whole weekend, and I remember as we entered, it was about a mile to the dressing room, and I never saw one smiling face. Everyone was covered in mud. But I enjoy playing festivals. I don't think I'd go to one.
No. Yes.
Having seen so much rain.
Yes, it's either too hot or too wet, but you're outside, aren't you? And what country particularly did you enjoy playing in? Was there a particular country that, obviously a lot of people liked Argentina. I think the Rolling Stones did, and I think Lemmy used to like Germany because they were very dedicated to Motorhead. Did you have a particular country that you enjoyed playing in?
Well, if you talked about dedication, I suppose it would be Mexico. We played quite a lot in Mexico. It was quite an amazing. We got an amazing reception there. I enjoyed everywhere we played. I don't think there was any place that I didn't enjoy being in. I love traveling. I love experiencing different cultures and different people.
Yes.
But Mexico was definitely.
What was the connection with Mexico? Because that was obviously something that, one started going, yeah, it's got this massive following from Mexico. Was that something that gradually happened, or kind of happened quite immediately?
It gradually happened. It must have been through Los Angeles and for the Mexican kids in California latching on to Morrissey, his heartfelt lyrics and the fantastic melodies.
Yes.
And then when we went to Mexico, we were like full-on rock stars.
That must have been quite delightful at times. Did you have any scary experiences on the road with, either fans or accidents or anything like that, or electrocutions? Because occasionally you hear horror stories of, near misses. Did anything like that ever happen with you?
Was an earthquake in Mexico. Just as we finished the sound check, things started rattling, and we had to leave the building. We weren't allowed in until they were certain that there were no aftershocks or no secondary earthquakes. Apart from that, no lighting trusses ever fell down. No one got electrocuted. No one died on stage.
Yes. And what was the? And I was going to say, what was your favourite sort of combination of musicians that you played with? Was there a particular chemistry with certain people?
Oh yeah, I mean that everyone that played with Morrissey was good. The Polecats are all amazing musicians. When I played with Edwyn Collins, I got to play with Paul Cook from the Sex Pistols. He was another amazing player, lovely drummer to play with. There's a guy called James Welburn who plays with his band's called His Lordship. Amazing guitar player, loved to play with. I played with Morrissey when Alan White couldn't play. I played with a guy called Little Barry for 3 weeks, who was an amazing guitarist. I've been very lucky to play with some amazing. All the drummers Morrissey's had, Dean Butterworth, Matt Walker, they were all accomplished and amazing players.
Yes.
Played with some of the best people I think I played with.
Amazing musicians, actually. And has there been any music autobiographies that you've read that you would recommend? Because in the last 5 to 8 years, I say 8 years, before then, there was very little written and people weren't writing memoirs. Has there been any books that you would recommend that you thought, God, that was a good read, actually?
Well, I plan to do my own, but I've not done much about it recently. But so I've read a lot of musical biographies, trying to get an idea of how mine should be.
Yes, good idea. I think
I've read so far, and I've read a lot, has been Nicky Forbes, who was the drummer in the Rosillos. And his book is called The Rhythm Method.
Ah.
And it's it's a history of a short tour of America, but I thought it was very well read.
Yes. Did you ever read the Ian Hunter one from Mott the Hoople? He wrote, I don't know.
One in the 70s.
Yes.
Old Diary or whatever it's called. I read that in the 70s, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, no, I've been, again, everyone's writing them at the moment, and you slowly get this pile of them building up, and they're all kind of interesting. And, the Shen from The Very Things did one a few years ago, which was quite nice. I've got fond, because he's got a little piece from Kathy Unsworth in there, who talks about being a student in Great Yarmouth, which, I don't know, it captures a moment in the 80s very beautifully. So I quite like that. And also, I love the fact that people have gone through their archives and have put in pictures and flyers of stuff that obviously at the time most people would have thrown it in the bin, but someone's kept them, and when they're put in a book, it suddenly becomes this historic document. I need to get out more, but I do love these books, by the way.
I've just started the Bill Legend book. He was a drummer in T-Rex. And I've also got the Alan Tyler book. Alan Tyler is the singer in the Rocking Birds. And
yes, I've done an interview with Alan.
His book's excellent. And the time before last I saw him play, he did his whole set was based around the book, which I wasn't expecting. It was quite a joy to see. I'm looking forward to reading the book.
Yes. So have you started making notes and sort of collating on getting bits of photographs? Can you picture what the book's going to be like?
Well, I did about 4 years ago, but I've not done anything than think about it since. So I need to start work on it, basically. I don't know.
This is also very, very true, actually. Did you enjoy Morrissey's autobiography?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I remember I bought it. I must have been one of the first people to buy it. I happened to be outside the bookshop at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I found it very, very interesting.
No, I enjoyed it. It
It was
made me laugh.
the court thing got bogged them down a bit, but he never spoke about that really. So that was quite, for me, that was quite interesting because. And then I got to a bit where I was in it. I thought, well, I don't have to read anymore.
Did you enjoy the comments about yourself?
Yeah, it's nice to be noted.
Yes. Do you think you'll ever do any work again with each other, or was that
I don't know,
it's just
no idea.
Hmm. Did you know that you weren't going to be working again?
No,
No, it's always yes, there you go. These things happen. Does it take a lot to process, or do you just have to quickly move on?
personally, I had a fear of missing out for a while, but it's sort of prepared me now for kind of early retirement. But I am really busy doing what I do.
Yes.
Maybe it was just time to move on, you know.
Yeah. Do you have much work to do on the place in Portugal, or is it quite
Well, we've been there for 25 years, so it's always getting developed and changed, and things have been rebuilt and things have been refurbished.
Where do you put all your musical gear, by the way?
Well, I have a studio. There's two studio rooms, a live room and a control room. And it's mostly there. I have some stuff in storage in London.
Yes, and that is that. But look, Boz, thank you ever so much for your time, and I really look forward to hearing more from the Polecats. This will be very interesting.
I'll give you a link to the new single.
Yes, that would be brilliant. And thank you again. And yes, all the best with that. And yeah, look forward to the book. I did an interview with Marco Peroni, and he sort of suddenly was talking about his book that he's going to be putting together. So
I've heard that he came up with the title for the book recently, so it must be near completion.
yes, and yeah, it'll be an interesting one because I was doing an interview the other night with Dorothy Max Pryor, who was in various bands with like Rima and then Psychic TV, and she'd worked with Adam Ant in the kind of very early years, or had known him, or Stuart as she called him at the time. So yeah, that will be interesting to hear what Marco's time with Adam was like.
Well, yeah, he was in Rima. They did that one single on 4AD.
Yes. Did you see the film
Film of
Rima?
no, I'd love to see.
Oh, I'll send you the link to the trailer. That will amuse you immensely. If you can make I think a 90-minute film out of a band who lasted 8 months and did one EP, you're doing well. See, everyone's kind of liking the digging down. Actually, I think this is what everyone wants. The most obscure thing possible, and you've got solid gold.
And the three songs on that 12-inch, they're kind of very different from each other.
Yes, well, that was the first single on 4AD, and yeah, and they all went on to do quite interesting things. So it'll be it'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But anyway, look, all the best, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate this.
Okie doke.
Take care and enjoy Brighton.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye. That is the end of the interview. Massive thank you to Boz for giving me the time for that. This has been the C86 show. David Eastaugh. If you want to contact me, you can on any of the social media platform sites. Just do C86 show and my name. All these interviews have been archived on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. It's true. Have a great week. Stay safe.